Did you call me to come and do them for you? Maybe you can buy contract ya kupaka hii nyumba. Under in under 1 week imeisha.
That's true. But
so I don't want stories, Very kindly,
advise that in Lifu, all the local contractors have taken up their jobs, and that tomorrow when I come back to address the teachers, I will also go to the site in Lifu. Let's see. I want to thank everybody else across the country. I've seen the northern region, the Nyanza region, western, and basically all regions have started. With a few pockets of who are still digital. This project is extremely important because it was one of His Excellency the President's directives during the last Mashujaa Day in Kirinyaga, when he directed that 8 billion Kenya shillings be found for some 10,000 classrooms to be used for junior secondary school. We have already mapped out all schools and they are on GIS, and therefore we know where the gap is. There are some schools with excess surplus classrooms that will even be suffice our junior secondary school. There are some with adequate that require just addition of 1 or 2, and there are others that require the whole complement of the streams of junior secondary school. It's extremely important that the first one that we have started, which will involve 5,200 classrooms, is completed by April this year. All ones in March, then there will be 3 of them, the normal KCP and KCSE, and then grade 6 exam, which will be responsible for only 40%. Those 3 shall be done in December. The President has directed that we prepare those exams, and as he leaves, the exams will be ready to be mounted. As a matter of fact, there are just a few things that I hope by the end of February next year, all the exams, all the 5 of them, will be ready to be mounted. Life must continue as the courts argue the pros and cons competency-based. But let me just add that the competency-based curriculum is bringing back our child. The competency-based curriculum is bringing back our children because the parents are now forced to engage. For example, in the middle class, where we treat children like eggs, the child comes from school and tells mommy, now today I'm the one to wash the plates. Mommy says it will not happen in my house. I have 3 houses to wash the plates. And you tell you, no, I have to wash the plates because it is part of my homework at school. I have to report which part of the utensil I washed. So the engagement that is lacking with most of the younger people that we have here now, we are going to get it back through the competency-based curriculum. Perhaps the single most important thing which we have to remember about CBC is that it is learner-centered rather than being teacher-centered. Salute our teachers. I want to recognize and salute our teachers during the year of 2021, during which period they did the exam for 2020, which went well. And I also want to thank them because we constricted the calendar, and they have done extremely well. I know that for most of them, they have already completed the syllabus, and the children are just revising, waiting the exams. This recognition is not taken for granted. It's also important to note that as the media and everybody else focuses on 0.1% of schools and learners who are renegades and do bad things, we tend to forget about the large majority of teachers and a large majority of learners who are very happy to continue with their learning and are going forward. As we start the new year, mine is to say this, that among the renegade children who want to go home to rest, we shall allow them. My instruction to the head teacher is that if there is a child who does not want to go to school and he wants to go and rest with his parents to take exams from home, let him go rather than harming the infrastructure, because it is actually ridiculous for a child where there are 2,000 children, because you don't want to read, because you take drugs, because you are a homosexual or what have you, or a lesbian, because you want everybody else to see. I've also empowered the principal to feel very free. If you see anything, If anybody asks you for money, front or back, feel very free to consult me. Because me, I have no kids. I will tell you what to do. And I will protect you. And I love. And you also, if you are intimidated by anybody, whoever it is, because I cannot intimidate you. You never see me coming back to you behind the chair saying, oh, can you bring something? If I can't, and I'm the head of the ministry, are we together here?
Yes.
So we hope that by the time we are retiring from government, the examinations will be all ready. It doesn't matter that we shall not be there. Whoever takes over the government will be able to administer the examination to your children with the help of the gallant teachers. We are also hopeful that by that time, Mama Ngina school girls should be in this campus. And that would mean that almost every month I'll be here to check what I have come to check. Unless you have any questions.
Yes, sir. With a busy schedule next year.
That's all that is required. And I have said, and our teachers, the majority of them have done so. They have managed the children well. Again, you have focused on the few that are making noise. If you want to focus on those few, I have no time for you. You focus on the majority. So no Kenyan child should be out of school because of school fees in the new year. The money that I've told you the government is making available, as we open third term, the government is going to ensure that the money is in the schools by that time. As far as examinations are concerned, His Excellency Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta's government decided long before I joined government that all children, whether from public or private, the exam fees are paid in full. In full. So, this parent that does not want the child to go back to school, let him or her keep the child at home. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Because if it's a genuine case, and it is a case of money not being there, we have already told the teachers, take what the parent brings to school and agree on how the parent is going to continue. But you must also agree that there are parents, for example, where you find that the child is a homosexual or a lesbian, is on hard drugs, the other children have found out at school, and you identify the child to go to a day school that is near the home, so that the parent can help in rehabilitation. You say, no, the child must go back to the examination. Whose side are you on? You as a major person. Are you going to look at the one child or the 2,000 that are at school? Yes, so we shall listen to the parents, but I think let us be realistic. The hands are not the same, and I keep urging the head teachers and principals that you must not send a child home for extra charges. That one is criminal, and Bwana TSC iko wapi?
Yes, sir.
Can we agree that we take action? If you decide to levy children, if you want to levy children, then you must levy children at your own cost and at your own risk. In terms of parents who can afford helping the school, this is voluntary from Teachers Parents Association, and it must take into account the agreeability and the affordability. The majority of the parents may want to contribute on their own. Those who can afford but don't want to contribute, to leave them alone. And those who are poor and indigent, don't even send them home. In fact, they could benefit from the others. I use the same principle in my clinic when I used to be there. The well-dressed ones like me pay. Somebody comes from Kibera, I still do the operation. The one who paid pays for the other one. That principle works, isn't it? Is there anything else? It will give us time to mobilize and start this school so that by the end of the year, when we start in 2023, all our children will have enough classrooms. Competency-based curriculum, as you are all aware, is in very good state as we are. The children have just had assessments by Kenya National Examination Council for grade 3, 4 and 5. You know that grade 4 and 5 assessments will be kept by NEC, and that next year when we have grade 6, we'll have one more assessment and one summative one, and the children will be graded at that time. Even though the issue is in court, government must continue to work. The government has ensured that all the children, contrary to propaganda and toxic politics defied from a few people, that CBC is not working and expensive. The government of His Excellency the President has ensured that textbooks are available to every child in the country. And if one was to look back from 2013, from 2018 when we started to get textbooks, first of all we saved 70%, and we have spent in excess of 28.5 billion shillings. And we are going to ensure that by the time we go to grade 6,